Few men. Like
You have to kick them out.
A couple. Look, I was madly in love with Val Kilmer, and he left.
Why would he leave? He's having fabulous sex with one of the most beautiful women in the world. What's the problem with this guy?
Because you don't. Sometimes you sometimes you're only meant to stay with someone so long.
Right.
And Val was like, he was really young.
I'm kind of blacklisted. I haven't gotten a studio job in 15 years.
So you feel in a way that you are banned from the...
No, not in a...
I'm doing terrific. I found that I've been run over by a cement mixer. It's been a while.
Oh, you look great.
Welcome back to Juicy Pulse, your daily dose of scandal and glamour. Let's spill the tea on today's biggest celebrity stories. Cher just dropped some serious tea. Val Kilmer opened up to her before he passed, and wow, it finally makes sense why Val never got the respect he deserved. Even though he was one of the biggest actors of his time, Cher has been heartbroken over losing her old flame and friend Val, who sadly passed away at 65 from pneumonia. Or so they say, but here's where it gets real shady. Cher revealed that Val told her he got blacklisted from Hollywood because he refused to play their dirty games. He was targeted for years just for standing his ground. Val even warned her that he would have lost everything if he hadn't made some smart moves early on. Now, with all this wild info coming to light, people are starting to ask, was pneumonia really what took him out? Or was it all a cover-up because Val knew too much? Walking away from Hollywood might have been the smartest move Val ever made. Val didn't sugarcoat a thing either. He straight up told people he knew he was blacklisted. He wasn't just being paranoid. He called it out loud and clear. Hollywood kicked him out to keep him quiet. But what secrets did Val really know that had them so scared? At his peak, Val Kilmer wasn't just another actor. He was the moment. He didn't just light up the screen. He grabbed the audience by the collar and made them feel every single role. That man had it all: the talent, the charm, the movie star looks, and that signature smirk that made casting directors go wild. Val wasn't out here playing sidekicks or fading into the background. No way! He was the star. From Top Gun to Tombstone to Batman Forever, he was always front and center. And let's not forget, the man trained at Juilliard. He wasn't just a pretty face, he was a serious powerhouse actor who brought real skill to every scene. So, with all that going for him, you'd think Hollywood would treat him like royalty forever, right? Wrong, because in that world, the second you stop playing by their rules, they'll snatch the crown right off your head. For Val, the downfall came hard and fast. Around 1999, things started to shift. Within a few years, he went from A-list leading man to scraping together roles in straight-to-DVD flicks. And how did they do it? The oldest trick in the book. They slapped that label on him. Difficult to work with. And once that rumor spreads, it's game over. Val started getting dropped from roles he'd already locked in for years. It was a takedown. Plain and simple. Let's talk Batman Forever, because this was peak Val Kilmer. As Batman, he brought that dark, mysterious energy with just the right dose of chaos. Fans were obsessed, and you could see it in the box office. The movie pulled in over $350 million worldwide back in 1995. But then, out of nowhere, Val was dropped like yesterday's news and replaced by George Clooney in the next film, Batman and Robin. Like, what happened? It made zero sense to cut him from such a massive franchise when he was clearly delivering the goods. But behind the scenes, total chaos. In a later interview, director Joel Schumacher aired out all the drama, and he didn't hold back. He straight up called Val psychotic and spoiled, then went on a rant saying, "I'm tired of defending overpaid, overprivileged actors. I pray I don't work with them anymore." He even claimed Val was rude and inappropriate, and said, "We had 2 weeks where he didn't speak to me, but it was bliss, B-L-I-S-S. That's cold. But here's the thing, since when has Hollywood ever cared about bad behavior if the star is making bank? Let's be real. There are male celebs out here with actual criminal charges or disturbing accusations still collecting awards, roles, and red carpet praise like nothing happened. Just look around. Jonathan Majors is already getting rebranded like it's nothing, and Chris Brown's fans still cry foul like he's the victim. So why was Val the one getting iced out? Something deeper had to be going on. A lot of folks believe that whole difficult to work with label was nothing but a slick cover-up to push Val Kilmer out without raising eyebrows. But here's where it gets wild. Val said he wasn't canceled because he lost his spark, or because fans stopped checking for him. Nope. According to Val, the real reason he was blacklisted? Because he spoke up, and Hollywood does not like that. And the price he paid? 15 years. 15 of being iced out, struggling to land real roles, like he didn't once help carry the entire industry on his back. They left him out in the cold like he'd never been that guy. But what exactly did Val say that made them shut him out for over a decade? That's the mystery. Val never dropped names or gave full details, probably because he knew better than to poke the wrong beast. Still, over the years, he gave just enough to show how dark it really gets behind those glossy studio doors. Val said it straight. Hollywood runs on control, silence, and total obedience. If you want to make it big, you can't question anything. Doesn't matter how shady it gets. You're expected to keep your mouth shut, smile for the cameras, and stay loyal to the power players. But if you speak up, they will take everything you've built and toss you aside like you never mattered. Val Kilmer went from starring in back-to-back blockbuster hits, sharing the screen with icons like Tom Cruise and Al Pacino, to struggling just to get a callback from casting directors. That's not just a fall from grace. That's a straight-up disappearance from the A-list. And what makes it even creepier is how it all went down. Around the same time Val's career got derailed, other big stars started vanishing from the spotlight too. Wesley Snipes was on fire, man was unstoppable. Then boom, he gets hit with jail time over tax evasion. And let's not forget Mel Gibson. His career was on a roll until suddenly, everyone turned their backs on him. It got so bad, he had to pay for The Passion of the Christ out of his own pocket because no major studio would back it. Bet those studios were kicking themselves later, though, when that movie raked in massive numbers and became one of the highest-grossing R-rated films ever. At first, it looks like a bunch of random setbacks, until you realize the pattern. These weren't just actors messing up, these were powerful men who either said no to the wrong person or refused to play ball with Hollywood's shady inner circle. And the punishment? Total career sabotage. And now things get real weird. There's this eerie Mandela effect going around. Fans swear they saw Val Kilmer's obituary right after Top Gun. Maverick dropped, but he actually passed less than a month ago. How do people remember him dying before he died? Coincidence? Maybe. But creepy as hell? Absolutely. Word on the street is, Val Kilmer knew his time was running out, and instead of staying quiet, he made sure his story wouldn't die with him. He documented everything, all the madness, all the secrets, and passed it on to the one person he trusted to speak the truth. Cher! That's right! The legendary Cher was the keeper of Val's final confessions. After Val passed, Cher hit social media with a short but emotional tribute. Vals, we'll miss you. You were funny, crazy, pain in the butt, great friend, kids love you, brilliant as Mark Twain, brave here during your sickness. That raw and sweet message said it all. It captured the real bond they shared behind closed doors. Their story started way back in 1981 at a Manhattan restaurant. Funny enough, Val wasn't even impressed by Cher at first. He was surprised she was even into him. After all, he was just getting started as an actor, while she was already a superstar dominating headlines and red carpets. And let's not forget, there was a big 13-year age gap between them, which the gossip mags went crazy over. But despite all that, sparks flew fast. Things escalated quickly, and before long, they were locked into what Val would later describe as a straight-up, wild ride kind of relationship. Both of them were killing it in their careers. Val was leading every movie, and Cher was just, well, Cher. That kind of chemistry couldn't be faked. They were in deep, living in each other's worlds like nothing else mattered. And they even had secret nicknames for each other. No screaming Val or Cher in public. They had their own little language behind the scenes. It was real, it was messy, and it was unforgettable. They had the wildest nicknames: Sid and Ethel, Valus Maximus, and Caris Reprimandus. Their love was goofy, sweet, intense, a real whirlwind. But like a lot of crazy, passionate stories, that spark slowly started to fade. It wasn't some explosive breakup or betrayal. Nah, it was life. Busy schedules, different phases, growing apart without even realizing it. Eventually, Val packed up and moved out. After 2 roller coaster years, it was officially over. But here's the beautiful part. It didn't really end. The romance fizzled, but the connection? Still strong. Val and Cher stayed tight over the years, always showing up for each other when it mattered most. And when life hit Val with the biggest curveball yet, in 2014, throat cancer, everything changed. It was spreading fast, and he was in for the fight of his life. And who pulled up with love and backup when things got real? Cher. That's right. She opened up her home and moved Val into her guest house while he went through intense treatment. That's not Hollywood PR. That's real ride or die energy right there. Cher didn't just offer him a bed and bounce either. She made sure he had peace, comfort, and love while his body was in survival mode. In an industry full of fake smiles and broken promises, this was rare. Their bond had transformed into something way deeper, the kind of friendship that doesn't vanish when the spotlight does. Cher wasn't just helping Val with a place to crash. She was there for him all the way, emotionally and physically. There was a whole stretch of time where she literally dropped everything, canceled long-distance gigs, paused her own life, just to be there whenever Val needed her. That kind of loyalty? Rare. She stood by him through his lowest moments, keeping his spirits alive when everything around him was falling apart. In his memoir, I'm Your Huckleberry, Val shared a raw and unforgettable moment that showed just how deep their bond really went. He wrote about a terrifying night when he suddenly woke up, vomiting blood, the bed soaked like something straight out of The Godfather. I prayed immediately, then called 911, then alerted my hostess. That hostess? Cher. And instead of panicking or freezing, she stepped up, calm in the chaos. Even with death knocking on the door, Cher somehow found a way to crack a smile out of Val. He recalled, even in my grave condition, I saw her scanning the paramedic, who was Gregory Peck drop-dead handsome. Only in Hollywood, right? And then, like a true showman, Val bounced his brows Groucho Marx style and joked, "Hubba hubba." Cher got so flustered being caught that she couldn't help bursting into laughter. Picture it. He's covered in blood, looking like a stuntman straight out of Reservoir Dogs, and still making jokes about beauty and desire. That moment wasn't just dark comedy. It was survival. That laugh. It was everything. And yeah, even though Val's life was hanging by a thread that night, he still managed to share a laugh with Cher before the paramedics finished checking his vitals and strapped him into an oxygen mask. But what fans didn't realize at the time was how serious things really were. Sure, they noticed him rocking scarves around his neck, but no one guessed that Val had gone through a full-on tracheotomy, one that stole his voice. Even after that, Cher didn't go anywhere. She stayed right by his side while he fought through cancer and started the long journey to regain his health and his voice. But while his body was healing, something else was happening behind the scenes. Val started opening up to Cher about the darkest parts of his time in Hollywood, stuff he had never dared say before. And here's where things take a chilling turn. Val didn't just tell Cher these secrets. He had receipts, literal receipts, video recordings. Val had been filming his life for years, everything. Not just home videos or fun memories, but behind-the-scenes footage from sets, personal moments, even disturbing things he'd witnessed in the industry. He documented it all, like he knew one day people wouldn't believe him unless he showed them the cold, hard proof. According to insiders, this obsessive documentation, this massive archive of footage, was one of the reasons Val became a target. He wasn't just a loud voice, he had evidence that could shake things up. Val didn't just say no to the wrong people, he refused to play the game altogether. And the worst part? He had everything on record. That's the kind of move that doesn't just upset people in power, it terrifies them. In Hollywood, knowing too much is dangerous, but having proof? That's a death sentence. We've seen this play out before. Remember Diddy? The man kept a whole vault of wild videos featuring other celebrities, all because he knew one day he'd need leverage. Everyone in the industry knows the deal. Proof is power. If you've got the footage, you've got the upper hand. And Val, he wasn't just talking. He had the tapes. So when news broke that Val Kilmer passed away from pneumonia, fans were immediately side-eyeing the whole thing. It felt a little too convenient, the classic go-to excuse whenever a celeb dies under suspicious circumstances. People were quick to bring up Kim Porter, Diddy's ex, who also reportedly died from pneumonia, even though her first autopsy hinted at poisoning. Sound familiar? But here's where things really start feeling off. Val was finally making a comeback. He had gotten healthy, found his voice again, and was performing a one-man show as Mark Twain that had people buzzing. He was also locked in to return as Iceman in Top Gun, Maverick with Tom Cruise. Plus, his raw and revealing documentary Val had just dropped. And then, suddenly he was gone, just like that. The documentary Val was supposed to be his moment, his truth. told his way. It wasn't just a tribute to his career. It was a bold, unfiltered look into everything he'd survived. The fame, the sickness, the blacklisting, and the silence that haunted him. And it showed sides of Val that fans had never seen before. Raw, emotional, brutally honest. But the timing? Way too suspicious for some people. Right after the documentary gained traction, Val suddenly passed away. Fans started asking the big question: was someone trying to shut him up for good? Especially since Val showed glimpses of the old footage he'd collected over the years, the stuff he kept locked away for a reason. It was like he was easing the world into a truth he knew would shake the industry. And here's the part that really has folks talking. It's rumored that not all of Val's footage made it into the documentary. Sources say he left behind hours of unseen tapes. Some claim those tapes hold the kind of receipts that could put serious heat on the industry's biggest names. Names that don't like being exposed. Names that have the power to erase people without a trace. So now people are watching closely, waiting to see if those tapes ever surface. Because if they do, Hollywood might never be the same again. And if they don't, well, let's just say, a whole lot of folks are gonna think Val's story was buried right along with him. Now here's where it all starts to feel like something out of a conspiracy thriller. Rumor has it, Val knew the risks of keeping all that footage. He wasn't naive. He was smart, too smart. That's why before he passed, he reportedly handed over copies of everything to a select few people he trusted with his life. Not just Cher, but a few quiet insiders who've stayed completely off the radar. People who wouldn't fold under pressure. People who knew exactly what was at stake. Whispers say those recordings include everything from shady contract meetings and abusive power plays to celebrities breaking down over what they've been forced to do just to survive in the business. Some even claim there are tapes from sets of major films where behavior crossed serious lines, stuff that could never be explained away or swept under the rug. But now that Val's gone, people are wondering, are those tapes still safe? Or are they already being hunted down and silenced like everything else that doesn't fit the Hollywood image? One insider even hinted that strange things started happening right after Val's funeral. Files disappearing, hard drives going missing, people being followed. So the question on everyone's mind is, will the truth ever see the light of day? Or will Val's evidence be locked away forever, buried under NDAs, threats, and hush money? If even half of what's been whispered about these tapes is real, then Hollywood better brace itself, because Val Kilmer might have been silenced, but his story, it's far from over. Now let's get into the whispers that have people shook. Some say the release of Val's remaining footage could trigger one of the biggest exposés in Hollywood history. We're talking about career-ending, empire-collapsing receipts. Names that are still running billion-dollar studios, winning Oscars, and walking red carpets like nothing ever happened. But behind closed doors, allegedly caught on tape doing the unthinkable. That's why those who were close to Val are being extremely careful. Word is, the footage has been split, encrypted, and hidden across multiple locations, digital and physical. There are claims that even Cher doesn't have access to the full archive. She might hold the emotional key to Val's truth, but the evidence, that's locked down tight. And some say it's only set to be released under very specific conditions, maybe even posthumously by someone else if things go sideways. Meanwhile, there's growing pressure from people in power who don't want these secrets coming out. People who've stayed untouchable for decades, who know if this stuff leaks, it's game over. Fans online have started digging, piecing together clues, and keeping tabs on everyone close to Val, because if someone suddenly goes quiet or disappears from the public eye, the internet will notice. The tension is palpable. You can feel it. Something's coming. Whether it's a full-on Hollywood reckoning or another mysterious silence, only time will tell. But one thing's clear. Val didn't leave quietly. He left behind a storm. And now, all eyes are on the vault. The one Val Kilmer supposedly left behind, packed with decades of secrets that Hollywood never wanted the world to see. Rumors are swirling that a select few have already seen pieces of the footage, and what they saw was shocking. We're talking blackmail-level recordings, deals made in the shadows, and powerful names caught doing things that would ruin their legacies instantly if exposed. Some insiders are even saying that the footage contains proof of a full-on blacklist, a system used to quietly erase anyone who dared speak up, just like what happened to Val. And he wasn't the only one. There were others, actors, directors, even assistants, all thrown out like garbage the moment they stepped out of line. Val just happened to be one of the few who kept the receipts and survived long enough to warn people. But here's the twist. Those who have seen clips from the vault are staying quiet, too quiet, not even denying it, just silent. And in Hollywood, that kind of silence usually means one thing. Someone powerful is pulling strings behind the scenes. Fans are now demanding answers. They want the footage released. They want the lies exposed. Because if Val risked everything to preserve the truth, then somebody needs to finish what he started. The countdown has already begun. And if even one clip from that vault hits the internet, the whole game could change in a heartbeat. Val's final project, narrated by his son Jack, just debuted at the Cannes Film Festival, and fans are not buying the timing as a coincidence. When you look at everything happening around Val's career, his sudden death, and now this premiere, it's way too suspicious to brush off as random. Something's up. Insiders close to Cher are whispering that Val did leave behind a full-blown vault, loaded with video recordings, documents, and proof of everything he endured before the industry tried to wipe him out. And here's the kicker. Cher might not be done yet. Word on the street is that she's planning a surprise drop, a full release of all the evidence Val collected. If that's true, then buckle up, because when those receipts hit the public, heads will roll. So now the big question is, will Cher really stir the pot and unleash the truth like Val wanted? Or will the vault stay locked forever? And most importantly, was Val cast out not because he lost fame, but because he knew too much? You tell me, was Val blacklisted or silenced? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to stay in the loop with all the latest tea. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, and I'll catch you in the next video.